Namaskar friends, I welcome you all to video 12 of week 5. This is our final session of week 5 and today we'll bring everything together. Over the last 11 videos, we have explored digital deception in almost every form: anonymous behavior, grooming, hate speech, deepfakes, persona manipulation, and many more. And now we arrive at the most empowering part of this journey. That is understanding how linguistic markers collapse deception and allow us to restore truth in digital environments. This is the moment where everything clicks into place. The core insight is deception cracks under linguistic pressure. Friends, remember, deception is never perfect. It may look convincing on the surface, but language exposes cracks the way light exposes fingerprints. Offenders can change their names, profiles, platforms, even their writing style, but they cannot completely erase their linguistic identity. Their sentence rhythm, emotional pacing, word choice, preferences, and unconscious habits always leak through. And these leaks are what forensic linguistics specializes in detecting. Friends, truth has a linguistic pattern and deception doesn't. If you understand this line, you can very well understand the crux of this video. Truth flows, it has continuity, it has emotional coherence. When people say truth, their language usually remains stable. The tone is consistent, the vocabulary is predictable, the emotion is balanced. I just give you an example. You go back to YouTube and find out the press briefings that happened during Operation Sindoor, and you observe the press briefings of both the countries, you will get to know many things. As a forensic linguist, when you look at those press briefings from forensic lens, you will understand what I say. Friends, deception creates tension. That tension disrupts linguistic behavior. Offenders over-explain things. They hesitate. They contradict themselves. They switch tones abruptly. They forget their earlier linguistic choices. Deception forces the mind into cognitive overload, and language becomes the casualty. Friends, there are many micro markers. I'm talking about the smallest clues that crack the biggest lies. Sometimes it is not the big message that reveals deception, it is the tiny markers that does the job. For example, a misplaced emoji, inconsistency in punctuation marks, the sudden shift from I to V, V to I, a new slang word the offender never used before, a forced attempt to sound formal or casual. Friends, these micro markers are powerful because they come from unconscious behavior. Offenders don't plan them, and because they don't plan them, they become the most truthful parts of deceptive writing. Friends, micro markers are the broader structures that reveal hidden intent. These micro markers operate on a larger scale. Offenders repeat narrative patterns. They structure explanations in the same way. They escalate emotions using predictable arcs. They show the same defensive behavior across platforms. And when these broader structures recur, they reveal a single author's mental blueprint. Forensic linguists map these structures and show codes how deception is woven through the message. Let us go through a case scenario of a fraudster attempting to erase linguistic footprints. Let's imagine a case where an offender uses two completely different writing styles to avoid detection. One is formal English in email and slang heavy chat language on WhatsApp. On the surface, it looks like two different people. But forensic analysis finds identical punctuation errors, similar misspellings, repetitive filler words, and matching emotional pacing. Courts accept the linguistic convergence and expose the fraud. Friends, deception collapses under the weight of linguistic truth. The invisible thread behind every deceiver is cross-platform consistency. Whether offender operates on email, WhatsApp, Telegram, or Instagram, they carry unconscious habit with them. They use the same metaphors. They switch languages at similar emotional moments. They apply the same narrative strategies. These consistencies act like digital footprints. Even if each individual message seems insignificant, the chain reveals psychological signature that cannot be hidden. Friends, we need to understand the behavioral leakage, the psychological truth behind linguistic slips. Deception always leaks psychologically. Anger leaks, fear leaks, arrogance leaks. Offenders reveal who they are when they lose control. During arguments, during defensive responses, during emotional peaks, these emotional spikes reveal authentic behavior hiding behind the disguise. Friends, linguistic analysis captures these moments, allowing investigators to see the real person behind the screen. As I told you earlier, metadata makes miracles. When metadata meets linguistics, it becomes a double-layer truth verification system. Linguistic evidence becomes unbeatable when combined with metadata. And if metadata shows suspicious timing and linguistics shows suspicious similarity, the case strengthens. If metadata suggests a single device and linguistics suggests a single author, deception collapses. Friends, metadata provides structure, linguistics provides meaning, and the court trusts the intersection of these two. We need to understand the reason why forensic linguistics protects digital justice. Digital crimes evolve quickly. Technology creates new tools for deception every day. But human linguistic behavior evolves slowly. It is stable, it is deep, and it is psychologically rooted. That stability gives codes something reliable to hold on to. When everything else can be faked, language becomes the final truth. Now, what comes to your mind is how to train ourselves to hear the cracks in deception. Friends, it's very easy. As you advance in this course, you will train your mind to notice inconsistencies that others miss. When you ask yourself, why did the offender suddenly change tone? Why did they introduce a new emoji pattern? Why was their spelling changed only in certain contexts? Why does their emotional pacing feel rehearsed? Why does their writing rhythm match across platform? Friends, these questions are your forensic compass. It will show you the right direction. These questions will guide you towards the truth that hides beneath the language. As I told you, deception is temporary, manipulation is temporary, digital illusions are temporary. But linguistic truth is permanent. It persists through platforms, disguises, technology, and manipulation. When everything else collapses, language remains the most reliable witness. Friends, I'm very happy to mention that we are coming to an end of week 5. I must congratulate you people and thank you people for your dedication, your curiosity and your engagement during this week. You now understand how language behaves in digital spaces, how it deceives, how it reveals, how it protects, and how it accuses. In the coming weeks, you will apply these insights to legal contexts, courtroom discourse, and advanced investigative cases. The journey becomes even more fascinating from here. I hope you must have enjoyed week 5. I'll catch you again in week 6, video 1. Till then, stay tuned with the forensic lens and keep observing things around you. Thank you very much. See you in the next lecture.